Okay. The easiest way to approach this question is just to move the decimal place. So that way you don't need your calculator for this.
1 over.
So you move it 1 over. If it's multiply, you move the decimal place to the right. Divide, you move it to the left. So in this case, you move it 1 over. That makes 15.6. Right? The next one is 545.9 times 100. This one's a little different. How many decimal places do I have to move it?
2.
2 zeros. So I got to add a 0 in there. So that becomes 54,000.
590.
590.
It's the number.
Okay. 0.125 multiplied by 1,000. 12.5. How many zeros do I have there?
3.
3. 1, 2, 3.
You don't get another. We're close to 5.
Okay. 75.34 now, divided by 10.
7.5.
Move it 1 this way now, to the other direction. 7.524. So these can be done fairly easily. So then 897.5 divided by 100 is 8.975, that's right. And 8.25 divided by 1,000.
825,000.
You're going wrong. Oh, okay, what did you say?
825,000.
Thousands? Okay, I like that. That's fair. So, 0.00825. So yeah, you're right about that. Okay. Okay. Just quick, get back into it Monday afternoon. All right. The SI system. System International Units is known as the metric system. This system was developed in France in 1791 to standardize all types of measurement around the world. The base unit for length is the meter. All other units are written in terms of the base unit using powers of 10. So, one of the things that you have to be able to do is do your conversions. So what I'm going to do right now okay, a kilometer. How many meters is a kilometer?
1,000.
1,000. Kilo means 1,000. It's 1,000 meters. How about hectometer?
100.
Okay, somebody else?
Excuse me for the interruption. Cameron Johnson's room 25. Cameron room 25.
10 meters? What about a decimeter?
0.1.
Harley?
0.1.
0.1 meters. That's right. A centimeter? Oh,
0.01.
yeah, that's right. And Dylan, millimeters?
0.01.
Good job. 0.001 meters. All right, now, what I would suggest, okay, is making sure that we have this close by today. You have it nearby when you're actually doing these questions, because it'll make it easier to do the conversions after the fact. All right, so we're going to go through the problem part, or the examples. It says circle the larger unit in each pair. What's bigger, a centimeter or a meter?
Meter.
Meter. Good. Hectometer or kilometer?
Kilometer.
Kilometer. Millimeter or decimeter?
Decimeter. Millimeter. Decimeter. Millimeter is the smallest.
Decimeter is larger. Decameter or centimeter?
Decameter.
Deca is this guy right here.
Decameter is the
So decameter, that's right. How many centimeters are in 5 meters? So we talked about this at great lengths on Friday, right? Let's make our conversions. So what's that ratio right there?
It would be 100 to 1.
100 to 1. And if it's on top, what do I do with it?
Cancel them out.
Do I cancel them out if it's top and bottom? And across the top, I do what, Harley?
Times it by 5.
times it by 5. So what do I end up with?
500
500, and what's my units left over?
centimeters.
Centimeters, not meters.
Why does it say, like, it says so 5 meters is, like, why they bother putting that? On number 2, it says, like, so 5 meters is.
So 1 meter is 100 centimeters, so 5 meters is 500 centimeters.
It's just,
Oh, I see 5 meters is 5 meters times 100 centimeters per meter. See, they're just redoing it. I don't know why that sounds redundant. Okay, sorry, a kilometer is equal to 1,000. So 8.5 kilometers now. Let's do our ratio.
1,000 to 1.
1,000 to 1 this time, which is equal to
8,500.
we agree with this?
850. No, yeah, 8,500, yeah.
Do we agree with this?
Yes. Yeah.
How many zeros do I move it? 1, 2, 3. So add the zeros in, put the decimal there, it's right. 8,500, right? So far so good? Okay. Now we're going to get into some actual measurements. Paula rides her bike to her friend's house 4.5 kilometers away. She could also run, taking 1 meter strides. How many strides should she take, or would she take? Okay, so the first part of this. She's 4.5 kilometers away, and in SI units, what do I convert everything to in length?
Meters.
To meters. So I've got 4.5 kilometers. All right, Charlie, what's the ratio?
1 meter. No. 1,000 meters over 1.
There you go. Good job. 1,000 meters over 1 kilometer, right? Okay. Kilometers cancel, so that is 4,500 meters. So how many strides would she have to take?
4,500.
4,500. Good. Okay. We okay so far?
Yeah.
Again, I don't necessarily have to set these up all the time like this, but if it gets more complicated, if I know how to fall back on this every time, this really, really helps. Okay? Is to stack them and write your conversions out. It helps. All right? The second part of this is the diameter of a loonie is about 26.5 millimeters. What is the measure in centimeters? Okay. So this is where I would like to kind of get out of the book for a second and just work through the board here. Okay? Do I know the ratio of centimeters to millimeters?
Yes.
Yeah.
Michael, what's the ratio?
It's 10 millimeters in 1 second.
Okay, so my ratio would be 1 over 10. Do we all agree with that? Yeah? So this and this, and without the use of a calculator, because I'm dividing by 10, what do I do with the decimal place?
Move it over to the right to the left.
1 to the left. So what is the final answer?
655.
Okay. So far so good? How are we doing? Are we okay?
Yeah.
All right. So far. I'm going to take a quick look at page 46 just for a second. I'm just going to introduce this first part here. So again, this is estimating lengths. I'm not a huge fan of estimations. I like being precise, but sometimes it helps just to get a clearer picture of what we're doing. Name a metric unit and an imperial unit, so we need both units, you would use to estimate each measurement. How about the height of a tree? In metric, what would you use? A meter. Right. So you'd use a meter. What about imperial? Ben, what would I use to measure the height of a tree in imperial?
Feet.
Feet, possibly. What would be another
Inches.
one? Yards. right? If I'm measuring it in meters and metric, the closest thing to a meter in metric is what in imperial? Yards. Right. The width of a book,
Centimeters.
Probably
Centimeters?
centimeters and then inches.
in inches, right? Sure. The diameter of a golf ball, Josiah? Millimeters possibly, yeah. I'm okay with that. Centimeters or millimeters, right? Yeah.
Inches.
And then, what is the smallest unit that we use in imperial?
Is there anything under inches?
Not that we're gonna use. So we would use inches.
So it'd be like, probably like inch and a half.
Yeah.
Well, like, but could you do that? Like,
Sure you could.
yeah?
So what we're going to learn as we go through this unit is we actually, when we look at a metric, or sorry, an imperial ruler looks like this. I've got 0 to 1. The halfway point right here would be a half. Obviously, right?
Yeah.
Then we break it up into 1/4 and 3/4. But we're not done there yet. Okay? An imperial goes smaller yet. What you'll notice is there's 3 ticks before that quarter. So each of these is 1/16 of an inch. So when we measure using a 15 centimeter or 30 centimeter ruler and we're working with inches, we can actually measure it to the 16th of an inch. Each tick is a 16th of an inch. On a metric ruler, just flip back 2 pages. On a metric ruler, what does each tick represent on a metric ruler?
1 millimeter.
1 millimeter, that's right. That's right. Each tick is a millimeter on there, okay? Each tick on a imperial ruler is 1/16 of an inch. So that's why I said we get into fractions and we start working with fractions a fair bit. Okay? Back to what we're doing. The distance from Winnipeg to Vancouver. Miles or kilometers, that's right. That's right. So then the next part was list some SI reference based on everyday objects. So what would you measure that would be a millimeter? Or you'd measure in millimeters, let's say. Something small you'd measure. Give me anything.
Eraser.
It's
Oh,
Yes,
typing.
you're pressing buttons.
Typing.
Oh! Sitting on it. That looks weird. Let's just delete that. Or not.
Kill me.
This is not prepared.
Yeah, let's do this. Oh boy, we having trouble.
No, you need cards for that.
That'd be a
And
fun
there we go. When we're sitting on the keyboard. Okay, what do you measure? That's a millimeter?
Like
No.
it's like a
Eraser.
couple
Eraser, good one.
couple pieces.
Eraser. Centimeter?
The width of this calculator.
Pencil.
Pencil, just a calculator, sure. 10 centimeters.
Pencil maybe? No.
Long pencil.
Sure. 10 centimeters long pencil. I think it's that long, Dave.
No.
Pencil's like 12 centimeters.
Okay.
Depends on the pencil.
What about a meter?
Meter stick.
Stick, that's what we use to measure with. Yeah, measure anything that's a meter. All right, height. I work with heights of somebody. Okay, some imperial based on everyday objects. Something that's
2x4.
an inch. Well, 2x4s. Okay, great. Okay, well, 2x4 pretty much covers all of this, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because, well, except for the yard. So 2x4, it's 2 inches by 4 inches. So that covers the width and the height of it, I guess, right? And then the length of it could be in feet.
Or
Right, by a 6 foot or a 12 foot or a 16 foot, right? So that could cover both of them. And what do you measure in yards?
Football field.
Football fields, right?
I would mean
Or the length of your shot to the first green. In the middle of the first fairway.
Well, UV never hits the greens.
Yeah.
Greens and regulations.
There I bring golf up again for you guys to fight over.
In my eyes, the pond is
I
the
thought they
green.
played with her now.
That's all they fight over?
Because I beat him and he keeps.
No, you
going
didn't.
every-
I know who you're
every-
not
every-
gonna beat. You do. Me.
Yeah,
let's
I
see.
probably wouldn't.
You probably wouldn't.
Probably wouldn't.
You wouldn't take your chances.
Come on, I'll start.
That's like Keon says, dude.
All right. Okay. Questions from Friday's work. Take a look back on page 40 and 41. Okay, 40 and 41. Did anybody have any issues in here?
No one's really done this.
Oh, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, I do.
I
Didn't
didn't,
get much done on 40 and 41?
I'm on 8 and
Awesome.
41.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, I'm just almost now.
Okay,
I'm on-
what was your question though? You had a question about,
Other tests,
Other
there's
tests.
some other,
take your tests out that I gave back to you on Friday.
I never got
I don't got mine.
Mine's right here.
But I know what I got.
yeah, he actually did. Yeah, what'd you get, Amy?
I got 91.
Okay, so take that out. That's all right. You missed half the work, so that's okay. Okay, which one did you want to look at, Haley?
I can't even remember. I think it was just like this one. I think it was just the rounding.
You want to take it out?
That's why I thought 60%.
It was, you have a dollar and it was like,
It's,
Okay.
I got 91.
Hey, remember the camera's on, so it's picking up your conversation instead of what I got to say. Okay? So you're looking at question 2 there, Haley? Yeah.
maybe.
Okay, or 23. Michael. Thank you. Kevin wants to earn 4,000 next month. Okay, he wants to earn 4,000. I'll show you. I know what you're, I understand where you're coming from. He earns a base salary of $700. Oops, that's $1,000. Base salary is 7. This is question 23 on page 4. Plus 3.25% commission on sales. So plus 3.25% commission on sales. So how much would he have to sell to the nearest dollar to earn his target amount? Okay, so how much does he need to earn? If he makes 700 on his base salary, how much does he have left that he has to earn off his sales?
32.
3,300. That's right. Okay. So to simplify this, I'm just going to write it out, and this is one of the things that we don't do well enough. As we get older, we tend to try and shortcut, use equations, don't really discuss it. And when I get into the applied courses, I try my hardest to talk about what we're supposed to do. So if I make my commission and I'm given the amount of sales, so I know the amount of sales, I'm given the interest off of it, or the percent that I make off it, how do I find out how much I actually earn? All right.
You have to divide 3,300 by 0.
Not yet. Now you're ahead of you're ahead of the game.
Oh,
You're ahead of the game. My question is, what if I knew the amount of sales
okay.
and I knew the 3.25% interest? How would I find out how much I actually earn?
Oh, you times the amount of sales by.
Perfect. That's what I'm looking for, Charlie. So I take my amount of sales, right? And I times it by my percent as a decimal. And that gives me my earnings, right? That gives me how much I earn on commission. We all agree?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Now I'm just going to put in a variable here. I can put in any variable I want. I usually use X. So I'm going to go X times 0.0325 equals 3,300, right? So far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do I get X by itself?
By
Divide by,
0.0325.
so let's take 3,300 divided by 0.0325, and I want to know what that equals. Okay, so I need a calculator, I'm going to make sure. I'll tell you what I get, and then I'm going to tell you why I was looking for a little bit different. 0.0325. Okay, so, whoops, no, that's right, 101,000 538.46, right? That's what you would get, correct? Get it?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay, so here's the issue you have, baby. If I round this down one to 38,
Mhm.
I can't get to 3,300.
Yeah, now I kind of get it, because like you can have.
Yeah, you always need to round up for money,
That's what I
because
do too.
like if
Yeah.
you are buying something for $20 and like let's say it costs $20.10 and you only bring $20 and you can't get to your goal, you need to bring $21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why, for those of you that got this around your number, that's how come. You needed to get to at least 539, if you're going to go by the whole dollar in this case. But I'm going to be honest with you, I would much prefer you do this.
Yeah.
Even though it says to the nearest dollar on there, if you have, okay, here's a great learning lesson, because I'm teaching my grade 11s and 12s this morning. I said to both of them, the more decimal places you can put, the better. When it comes to money, we have to go to 2 decimal places. Even though the question doesn't ask for it, I always stress, put as many decimal places as you can. When it comes to money, you got to be accurate to that 100. But the reason I say that is if I ask you to let's go 47, let's say. If I asked you to round this to the nearest 10th, what would it be rounded to the nearest 10th? To the nearest 10th.
3.
So 2.3. You agree with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that's right. But if you put this on a test, even though I asked you for that, it's right. Okay? Because you are still accurate to that value. So what I'm saying to you is if you add more decimal places, whatever's on your screen, you can't get it wrong. You can never round it incorrectly at that point. So what if I asked you to round to the nearest hundreds in this case? What would it be? It would be 2.35, right? So if you wrote 2.34 and I asked you to round it, you'd get it wrong.
But not if you put
But-
7.
Not if I add the 7 is exactly correct. There I don't have to round it anymore. They call this truncate your answer. And it's, I never use it. I think it's a calculus thing that they use in first year university, but we don't do it. We don't do it anywhere in high school. We don't truncate answers, which means break them up. So I say to my students all the time, especially when they have to write provincial exams in grade 12, as you will. I say put as many decimal places, more than they ask. Because as long as you go one more than they ask, you can never round incorrectly. The only way you could lose half a mark is to put 2.34 instead of 2.35. So if you add the 7 into it, you're never wrong. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay? So then, if they say to the nearest dollar and you put all of that down, I'm marking it right. I'm marking it right. Because you've told me exactly how much you need in order to get to 3,300. That, to me, is the answer. All right? That help?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Try to have the same thing with you, yeah?
Yeah.
Was there anything else you wanted to see off of that? Hey, anything else you want to see off of that test or anything that's...
No.
I just have a question. It's not, you don't have to say, but like, it says right here that you circled 22, but like I used it here and now it's still right.
Yes, okay, so here's another great learning moment for you guys. In a 3-part question, A, B, and C. All right, which that question was. And you got A right. You got A correct. You got B wrong, so this wasn't right. Okay? But you needed that number right here in order to get C right.
Yeah.
So if you carry that value down here and you do all the things that you're supposed to do correctly in C, you get C right.
Oh, okay.
Because otherwise, if I mark this wrong and this wrong, I've now docked you twice for the same mistake. That's not what we do in math. I am checking each part of the question to see if you did the parts right. That's why, and I haven't even addressed this with you yet, That's why, and some of you did a really good job this, by the way. If you look at your multiple choice, and you see that question 8 on the multiple choice, look how much it's worth. How much is it worth? 3 marks. So if you just circle, you did all the work and circled the wrong answer, you get 0 out of 3. If you circled the wrong answer but put your work in here, I'm going to give you marks for it. All right? So if any question, whether it's multiple choice, short answer, or problem, is worth more than 1 mark, always put your work on the paper. Because if you get it wrong, you still might get part marks on it. Even a multiple choice question. I'm all about being fair. I'm rewarding you for work done. I'm not just rewarding you for work done correctly. And sometimes a 3-mark question in which you just circled a correct answer, I may only give you a mark. All right, not on this test, but on some tests, I might only give you a mark for the correct answer. I want to see the work done. Because for all I know, you looked over on the other person's sheet and circled it. So I want to see your work done. So if it's worth more than 1 mark, put all your work down. And that works twofold. Number 1 is then I can see that you did it right on your own. And number 2, if you got it wrong, I'll give you part marks for it because you showed me that you knew something on that question. Do we understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you got the rest of today to finish off that 40-41, and you can get started on whatever it was, 43 or 44 that we did today.
So where are we at? You have to do that today?
Finish the 40-41 today, and then get started on the other. And then tomorrow we'll go on, but we'll also finish off whatever I sent today.
Yes, here. Do you still have those things on the board like for the measurement project?
I'll come back to that in a second. I'm just going to shut the camera off here, Michael. Okay, which measurements are you talking about, Michael?